Welcome to 2C TV, your global news channel. We come to you guys with some breaking news and a sad tragedy in New York, as the police have now confirmed the latest number of casualties, and of course some more details about the attack, a mass attack, multiple shooters who targeted New Yorkers, of course, a few hours ago. We're going to bring you guys some updates on this. There's a couple of videos from on the ground and a couple of reports about this and a statement from the authorities in Brooklyn. And of course, we're going to get your reaction in this live stream as usual. Before we start, don't forget, if you want to get more out of this channel, make sure to become a member of 2C TV Plus by going directly on 2c.tv to get access to everything, of course, and also download the 2C TV app, the home of geopolitical news. All right, so earlier today, we started hearing the updates from New York. The latest number is that 11 people, unfortunately, have been shot. 3 of them have now been confirmed dead. They did say that 37 shots were fired in total. And New York, the police department, NYPD, are saying that for now, they can confirm that at least 2 shooters were on the ground, but they are keeping an open mind that there might be more attackers that they are trying to investigate and locate. Let's go to the first video. Another day in New York again. We're gonna tell you guys about Zohran Mamdani as well, and his reaction or lack of reaction to this. Now, it was initially reported by Viral News NYC that the police locked down 903 Franklin Avenue after the hail of gunfire that left several people initially wounded. Unfortunately, a few of them have now been killed. NYPD rushed in under a level 1 mobilization, flooding the area with the police and emergency crews. The block is obviously taped off completely as the detectives are now going through the crime scene of what is now being classified as a mass shooting in Brooklyn. Now, let's quickly go to the next video we have from Brooklyn. That's chaos. Blood on the ground. Again, big shout out to Viral News NYC. We're trying to get more information about the identity of the suspects. Now let's talk about the location exactly and other information that we have in terms of the timing of the shooting. There's still also some updates coming in about this. All right, so first things first, in terms of where it happened. The location is Crown Heights, New York, obviously the Brooklyn side. The situation remains under investigation as the authorities have fully secured the area. It's not too far from Prospect Park, and you know, a lot of times, obviously, so many of the recent situations have been in Manhattan, but let's not forget that Brooklyn historically over the last few decades has become again chaotic. So it's not really a big surprise that it's from there. There's more reports from on-the-ground video reports that we have. Let's quickly go to that. Then we're going to talk about the police statement that explained exactly the timing and everything else that happened afterwards. Let's go.
So we're here in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. It's around 4 something in the morning in front of Taste of the City Lounge, where it's being reported 7 people were shot. It's unclear what the details are yet. I do know NYPD does not have a description of the suspect.
Nothing yet.
You can clearly see the pools of blood that are left inside this hookah lounge. Multiple victims were rushed to the hospital. Now, this has become a norm out here, right? Last week, there was a shooting in front of Times Square. 3 people got shot. There was a 3-year-old kid in the car. Now here, where it's being reported, 7 people were shot. That's the number I got over the
11.
scanners.
11 now.
And look, this is the reality in New York. Now, tomorrow, what you'll see is some politicians come and call for more gun control. Right? If you see that, block them, because they really don't care about New Yorkers. They care about a political agenda. They did the same thing when an officer was murdered on Park Avenue. And then you'll probably see someone show up here and do some corny video and say, we don't have an issue in New York. It's all safe. There's no crime at all. Well, these kind of people don't care about New Yorkers. They care about themselves. So, again, we're in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. I believe there was 7 people shot at this location, and hopefully they'll be okay. But from the pools of blood that are in this place, I don't think they'll be all right, because that is a lot of blood. Yeah, there's the blood right there. It's horrible. And
So,
this is the reality. God bless you.
Couple of important things to mention so far that it's been a few hours, but no description about the identity of the suspects, considering that they have already confirmed that there are multiple attackers involved, and the NYPD says that we can confirm at least 2, but there might be more than 2 that were involved. That's one issue. Second issue is the political side of it, and we are going to talk about one of the mayoral candidates, Mamdani. And the reason it's important to mention is this area is supposed to be a gun-free zone. It's a democratic hellhole. They thought, or they wanted people to think, that we have a solution. We're going to make areas and cities gun-free zone, controlled by the US Democrats, and that means that nothing will happen going forward. No crime, no mass shooting. Well, that hasn't stopped. In fact, in those areas, compared to the small towns, Republican conservative areas that all the good people have guns, you don't have this situation. Why is it? You are lying to people on a political level, and they are going to come out, as the viral news NYC said. Obviously, they're going to come out and take political advantage to start coming up with new policies that continues to make things worse. Now, in terms of the police statement, NYPD said that gunfire erupted around 3:30 a.m. local time at the Taste of the City in the Crown Heights neighborhood in Brooklyn after obviously the actual dispute started. The NYPD Police Commissioner, Jessica Tisch, said that during the news briefing, she said that officers responded within minutes to a multiple 911 calls and found that 11 gunshot victims ranging in age from 27 to 61. This is according to Jessica Tisch, the police commissioner. Now, that aside, staying with Jessica Tisch, she also said that the investigators believe that there were multiple shooters and they might be looking for more suspects. No suspects so far are in custody as of now. Obviously, we might get some new updates over the next few hours. Jessica says, we have the lowest number of shooting incidents and shooting victims 7 months into the year that we've seen on record in the city of New York. So she said, something like this, of course, thank God, an anomaly, isolated incident. She says, It's a terrible thing that happened this morning, but we are going to investigate and get to the bottom of what went down. It's short summary, according to Jessica Tisch, it's just an isolated incident. Apparently New York is fine. New York is safe. No issues. Everything's fine. Just a one-off. Sad reality. It's just a one-off. It's like, obviously they are gaslighting the public. But they think that we live in the 1920s, where you only get your news mostly from newspapers and the early days of radio. Or even before that. The facts are there. The reports are there. People can see what's going on. People who live in New York, they can see whether they are safe or not. Same problem in London, in Toronto. You can't just go around and say, I don't know what people are complaining about. Everything is fine. In fact, the same thing is happening right now in London. We got the liberal media, and there are a number of them who are going around. There's a podcast called The News Agents, and they're basically built by the former BBC presenters, and they're still funded by the deep state media. And they have been going around the last few days doing propaganda in defense of Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, saying there are all these right-wing conspiracy theorists saying cities like New York and London are unsafe. It's not. I live in a neighborhood and I can walk around. Yes, you live in your suburban middle-class champagne socialist areas, mostly gated communities, and of course you're going to be safe. But you're getting to a point where nobody is safe. Upstate in New York City, in Manhattan, same problems. Even in London, Kensington and Chelsea, which used to be kind of more posh areas, crime is going up there as well. Now, investigators in Brooklyn have been canvassing the existing CCTV footage around the lounge, and have discovered that at least 36 shell casings have been at the scene. So, they said about 36, 37 shots were fired. A firearm has been recovered near the scene, and the police are now investigating whether it was used in the shooting or not. Now, obviously, if there is some sort of fingerprint on it, it would help. And that also proves, there will be an indication of what sort of person it was. Because if it were a gang-related, considering that they targeted civilians, unlikely. But if it were gang-related, they would technically, if it's organized crime, they tend to be more careful when it comes to fingerprints. If not, then if there are fingerprints on it, then they should easily be able to find it on their system, especially existing suspects out there. But we don't know. We don't even know who they were because they're not telling us the description. It's been hours, and they have gone through the CCTV footage. It's not that difficult, but they have created a massive vacuum in the media, as usual. When the liberals are controlling the police and everything else, well, this happens. They're controlling the media. They have given restrictions to the press in New York, in Brooklyn, and what else they can actually report on this. Because apparently it's a sensitive investigation. No, it's Brooklyn. How many times do you have to have the same thing happening? But apparently because it's sensitive, you can't really talk about it much. So vacuum is created, and that way they can come up with their own political propaganda, the liberals, and they're going to go around saying, okay, so we're going to give this story, this angle of the story to the public, so we can push our own agenda, our own legislations, our own policies, considering that the elections are getting closer and closer in New York. We know what the plan is. Clowns like Mamdani. First things first, when it comes to Zohran Mamdani, who, by the way, is slowly going back down in the opinion polls because people are waking up in New York to the fact that he's not just this nice, smiley guy. He is a socialist. You can go around, call yourself a social democrat to make it sound better. Social democrats, they are socialists. Yes, they are socialists that still use democracy to get to power, but they are still socialists. Mamdani claims every single day that he is different to the mainstream politicians. He claims that he's got his ears to the ground. He claims to be a grassroots politician. He claims to be one of the people. He also said a few weeks ago during his media round interviews that because he's different, he's able to be flexible. He will be able to be on the ground. When something happens, he will be there. And when something happens, he will speak out quickly. Well, Mamdani, it's been a few hours. It's now mid-morning in New York. It's not even that early. You are awake. We have not heard anything from this so-called grassroots mayoral candidate. He's not concerned about this because he is waiting for the propaganda coming from NYPD, the political side of the leadership of NYPD, not the good police officers, and the media, and the Democrats, to find out how he can spin this. He's waiting. He's a puppet. That's what they're all doing. Now, I love how the Jessica Tisch, the commissioner, is saying, well, I don't know, Brooklyn is fine these days. And nothing really bad happens. This is just an isolated incident. Everybody go back home. No. People are waking up. Super chat from Bananas saying, is this cultural enrichment ambassadors at it again? It's doctors and engineers, right? The thing is, when you've created isolated ghettos across New York and places like New York in general, well, and also then you create gun-free zones. Gun-free zones mean good people can't have guns, bad people are allowed to have guns. Do you really think if you're a criminal, you're going to say, oh, well, I was going to continue having my gun because I'm a criminal, but Eric Adams or Mamdani or Joe Biden have now told us in this area it's a gun-free zone. I'm a criminal, but I'm going to listen to the government and the authorities, so I'm no longer going to use my gun. No, you're a criminal. You're always going to have it. The good people who follow the rule of law, they have been surrendering their guns. They don't take them out on the streets in Brooklyn, in Manhattan. What happens? The bad guys use it. The good guys can't defend themselves. And the police can't be there all the time. Especially when it's like a Saturday evening, early hours and Sunday. Right, at this point, what was it, 2 a.m., 3 a.m.? Even if you have the police patrolling every area, you're still not going to have enough people in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, for example, to just be there, be on standby, outside every nightclub and every bar, every restaurant, in case the bad guys use their guns. What happened to self-defense? You can't. You can't do self-defense when you are living in an area like Brooklyn. Anyway, let's also get some reaction from the members of 2CTV Plus in our chat forum. We have the paramedic Patriot saying, once again, getting news out before the mainstream. Well done, just shows the new media is ahead of the game. Thank you so much. Again, I need to apologize for the past few days. We were not able to actually be there for you guys because I was in the middle of nowhere in Greece with no actual internet. But we're back. Obviously, last night we gave you guys the latest report from London. Now we're talking about New York. Throughout the day, there's so much to talk about, including the press conference with Vladimir Zelensky, who's still, by the way, talking with the European Commissioner. We will get back to that shortly. Papa Fox says, so guns will get the blame once again. Yeah, it's not necessarily just the guns. Good people get the blame. The bad people, it's fascinating considering you've had a number of very, very, how do we describe them? High-profile criminals, shooters, terrorists, whatever they are. Whether the assassins, those who were trying to take out President Trump a number of times, or all the others, right? Those who took out some police officers in New York recently. There's no investigation, no special program by CNN or ABC. There's no documentary on Amazon Prime or Netflix about any of these guys. They don't care. If they happen to be card-carrying Republicans, oh, there will be many documentaries about these guys. Bruce says criminals don't tend to follow the rules about gun-free zones. Well, they love gun-free zones. It's the criminals that lobby for gun-free zones because they can continue to do what they want and good people can't defend themselves. Marvin says, it's because they want to ban all guns except the police and private security. And then the funny thing is that it's been decades and decades. The same debate continues. And when the conservative side keeps saying, whether you like it or not, we live in the United States of America, and what are you going to do? What sort of policy are you going to be able to have to be practical to collect all guns? Not just from good people, from bad people. Now, forget about the fundamental point about the rights in the United States and the Second Amendment, and the fact that it's not even just for self-defense, to defend your home and property. It's also to defend yourself from a potential future tyranny. That is the point of this in the American culture. You can't compare the American culture to Sweden. It's a whole different beast. People sitting there in the European ivory towers, and they say, well, what is wrong with these Americans? Why can't they be like, well, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different universe. And look at the state of the situation in Europe. And I'm not just talking about, for example, criminals having guns and whether you're able to defend your home and your family. That's not even the main point of gun rights. When tyranny happens, and it's happening already slowly in the continent of Europe and in many other places in the world, in Iran, since 1979, when the Islamic occupiers took control of that country because a bunch of idiotic leftists helped the Islamists with the help of CIA, people, the moment the occupation happened, the Islamic occupation, they're like, well, we don't want this. And what do? We can't defend ourselves because we don't have guns. And since 1979, there have been a number of uprisings, regular ongoing uprisings and protests in Iran. Nothing happens. Why? Because people are not armed. A small minority are controlling the country in Iran. Tiny, tiny minority. It's about 2 million of them, 5 million max, compared to, was it 95 million population, 90 million population. But they are able to oppress because they are armed. Lillian says, all over it is the same, more insecurity, and we are outnumbered by crazy fanatics, drug dealers and criminals. It's not even the same situation, for example, compared to the early 20th century in New York, for example, when you mostly had an issue with organized crime. And organized crime, gangs were primarily, and especially back then it was the Italians, primarily targeting other gangs. They literally had the integrity to say, well, we're not going to target civilians. They even had the rule that even my enemy, I'm not going to target their wives or their children because it's business. You don't have that anymore. That's gone. There's some breaking news coming from Israel as well. Alarms have now been sounded in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Israel is under attack by ballistic missiles. The IDF are intercepting the missile that is coming from Yemen, of course, the Islamic Republic's proxies, the Houthis. We'll get more information about that shortly to give you guys the report on that. But as I say, if you want to get more out of this channel, make sure to become a member of 2C TV Plus by going directly on 2c.tv. You get 1 month free if you join as an annual subscriber, but also download the 2C TV app, the home of geopolitical news, from your app stores, Android and Apple today, to get access to the documentaries and everything else in the podcast. And of course, the news posts we have now released the interviews from the New Media Conference last week, and we will shortly also post the highlights of what happened at our New Media Conference. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Maya 2C, and we are the media.